All right, let's talk about internet magic. You ever wonder how a website, maybe hosted in New York, can load almost instantly for you, say, all the way over in Tokyo? Well, that's not magic. It's a content delivery network, or CDN. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify this incredibly important piece of the internet. Let's dive in.
So, at its absolute core, a CDN is built to solve one single massive problem: latency. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's that annoying pause, that delay between when you click on something and when stuff actually starts showing up on your screen. It's basically the digital version of waiting for a package to ship from the other side of the world.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How does this technology seem to just bend the rules of physics to make the internet feel so darn fast? And you'll see, it's not just about speed anymore. Modern CDNs have developed some absolutely incredible superpowers that are total game changers. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, we have to really get our heads around the core problem. I mean, the internet feels like this magical cloud that's everywhere at once, right? But it's not. It's still governed by the cold, hard laws of physics. Your data is literally pulses of light shooting through physical fiber optic cables. And even at the speed of light, it still takes time to cross an ocean. And this slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. Imagine you're in Tokyo. You want to see a web page. Without a CDN, your request has to travel thousands and thousands of miles to what's called an origin server. Let's say it's in New York. Every single picture, every bit of video has to make that huge round trip. And that's what creates that slow, frustrating, why won't this load experience. But if that data is local, right there in Tokyo with you, the trip is super short and boom, the content just shows up. Okay, so if the big problem is distance, the solution is actually pretty elegant, at least in theory. Just get rid of the distance. And that's exactly what a CDN does. It creates this huge, distributed network of servers all over the globe. Think of it like a global chain of local warehouses for a website's stuff. And the beating heart of a CDN is something called a point of presence, or a POP for short. You can just think of a POP as a mini data center, or what's often called an edge server. They're strategically plopped down in major cities all around the world, and their whole job is to store copies or a cache of a website's files. You know, all the images, videos, that kind of thing. So, this is how the whole journey changes. When you're on a site that uses a CDN, your request doesn't make that long trip to New York anymore. No way. Instead, it gets intelligently routed to the POP that is physically closest to you. It might be just a few miles away. And that local POP serves you the file right from its cache, instantly. That whole long, slow, painful journey, completely gone, bypassed. But this is where things get really, really cool. I mean, speed was the original mission, right? But modern CDNs have evolved so much. They've basically become the Swiss Army knife for website performance and security. They offer this whole suite of what I honestly think of as superpowers. All right, let's kick it off with the classic superpower, pure speed. By serving stuff from the edge, from those local POPs, CDNs just slash page load times. And think about this. It also means the main server doesn't have to keep sending the same file over and over again, which saves a ton of money on bandwidth costs. Plus, since the content is copied in lots of places, if one server has a problem, another one just steps in. It makes the site way more reliable. Okay, now for a different scenario. Imagine your site just blows up. You launch a new product, a marketing campaign goes viral, whatever it is. Suddenly, you have millions of people all trying to get to your website at the exact same time. It's the best case scenario for your business, but for a single lonely web server, it's an absolute nightmare. And this is the scalability superpower in action. Without a CDN, that traffic spike slams into your server like a tidal wave. It's almost certainly going down. But with a CDN, that traffic gets spread out across hundreds of POPs all over the world. The CDN acts like this giant shock absorber, soaking up all that pressure and only letting a tiny fraction of requests get back to the main server. The result? Your site stays up. Your launch is a massive success. Now for our final superpower, security. A lot of CDNs today come bundled with a web application firewall, or a WAF. You can think of this as a smart digital bodyguard that stands at the very edge of the network. Its whole job is to inspect all the incoming traffic and look for anything shady. We're talking hacking attempts, denial of service attacks, you name it. And here's a really simple example to make it concrete. Look at this rule. It basically says, hey, if someone is trying to get to the private admin page and their IP address isn't on our approved list, just block them. Shut the door. So the bad guys are stopped dead in their tracks, right at the edge, before they can get anywhere near your actual server. It's just an incredibly powerful line of defense. Okay, so we've got a good handle on what a CDN does, but how does it work with different kinds of content? Because, caching a simple image file, that's one thing. But delivering a live video stream of, say, the World Cup final to millions of people, that is a whole different level of complexity. Let's dig into how they manage both.
Right. So for static stuff like images, CSS files, it's pretty simple. The CDN just copies the whole file to its edge servers and it just sits there ready to go. Super fast, super easy. But live video? You can't cache a file that's being created right now. It doesn't exist yet. So instead, the CDN breaks the live feed into these tiny little chunks, just a few seconds long, and then it's constantly feeding those chunks through its network in real time. And let me tell you, getting this right is non-negotiable. Check out this stat. If a live stream starts to buffer or lag, over half of your audience will click away in less than 90 seconds. That's it. They're gone. The whole magic of a live event just evaporates with bad quality. This is exactly why CDNs are absolutely essential for any kind of modern streaming. Honestly, the whole process is a little bit of an engineering marvel. So the raw video feed gets encoded, and then it's broken down into all those little chunks we talked about. At the same time, a manifest file is created. This is basically a playlist or a table of contents that tells your video player what order to play the chunks in. The CDN blasts both the chunks and the playlist out to the edge servers, and the player on your phone or laptop just grabs them and stitches them together into what looks like a perfectly smooth, seamless video. All right, so we've got the tech down. Now let's talk about the companies that actually do this. The CDN marketplace is huge and it's really diverse. You've got different players who are great at different things. This is definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. And you know what's really interesting? CDNs aren't just for the Netflixes and Amazons of the world anymore, not by a long shot. Take a look at this data from Cloudflare. Almost 2/3 of their customers are small businesses. The technology has become so accessible and affordable that it's a critical tool for pretty much everyone, whether you're running a personal blog or a huge online store. And this chart gives you a quick snapshot of that specialization. You've got absolute giants like Akamai, with a mind-boggling 4,000 plus POPs, perfect if you need massive global scale. Then you have Amazon CloudFront, which is kind of a no-brainer if your whole world is already built on AWS. And then there are others like Edgio that really double down on security as their main thing. So, if you ever find yourself looking for a CDN, these are the questions you absolutely have to ask. How big is their network? How fast is it, really? What kind of security features are included? Can it handle a massive traffic spike if you need it to? How well does it plug into the tools you're already using? And, of course, does the price actually make sense? The best CDN really truly depends on what you need. So as we wrap this up, it's pretty clear that the CDN has grown up. It's evolved way beyond just delivering files faster. It's not just a dumb pipe anymore. It's become this incredibly smart, sophisticated platform. We're talking about actual code, complex logic, running on these edge servers, making decisions right at the edge of the internet, closer to you and me than ever before. And that brings us to a really fascinating final thought. As more and more real computing moves away from those massive centralized data centers and out to this distributed edge network, are we watching a fundamental shift in how the internet is built? Is the future of the internet actually decentralized, more resilient, and even faster for all of us? It's a really powerful idea to chew on,